Hello everyone, Luke Smith here. Gonna do the final Resident Evil final reading yet again, but not for the last time because Resident Evil 9 is gonna come out in the next few months. But also released yesterday was Resident Evil Survival Unit that has files in it. I don't think I'm going to do a let's play of it, but I'm probably going to go into like plays through some of the game, give my initial thoughts. But I don't know if they're going to upload the files to this website. If so, then yes, I'll read them. But if not, I won't. So, the last Resident Evil 5 library file, Albert Wesker. The mansion incident, the tragedy at Raccoon City, Rockfort Island, Umbrella's Antarctic Research Facility, and the Umbrella Research Facility in Russia. I can't pronounce that name. And it's the first, because I've never even heard of that facility before, but I know which one they're talking about. The kidnapping of the US President's daughter. One man was involved, either directly or indirectly, with each and every one of these incidents, Albert Wesker. The motivation behind all of Wesker's actions can be found in this current incident in Africa. Wesker had already obtained samples of various organisms and viruses, including the T virus and the G virus, the T Veronica virus, and the Las Plagas. All of these were eagerly and enthusiastically received by Umbrella's former rival companies, who compensated him greatly for each, with wealth, power, and glory. Wesker appeared to have everything a person could ever want. Wesker, however, was not interested in material gains. An all too familiar sense of trepidation continued to gnaw at him. The source of this uneasiness being Umbrella's founder, Oswald E. Spencer. Rumoured to be in Resident Evil 9, but I do not believe in that. I do think it's Brandon Bailey, to be fair. During his time at Umbrella, Wesker could not ascertain what Spencer's true intentions were. Spencer's extensive funding of BOW research was unheard of in the field. The whole reason for producing bioweapons was that it could be done relatively inexpensively when combined with a normal weapons delivery system. Spencer's extreme investment in BOWs seemed unnecessary. Why would Spencer need such BOWs in the first place? To find the answer to that question, Wesker joined Umbrella's information department. Even after the downfall of Umbrella, these doubts continued to haunt Wesker. To find the answers that he needed, Wesker began to search out Spencer. The only problem was that even before Umbrella's dissolution, Spencer has removed himself from Umbrella's day-to-day operations. Wesker had to use every resource at his disposal. All this time, money and connections. Eventually he ascertained Spencer's long-hidden whereabouts. On the first night of autumn, as thunder and lightning raged in the skies above, Wesker arrived at the ancient castle in Europe, where Spencer resided. Wesker expected the old man to be surprised by his presence, but instead, the riveted old eyes of Spencer lit up with dark delight as he spoke. "You're back." The words barely audible amidst the coughing laugh. If Wesker had had his doubts about St. Spencer before, he didn't know what to make of him now. He only knew that at that moment that this seemingly feeble old man had been in control of everything that has transpired at Umbrella. Even Wesker's own actions through the years had been controlled and manipulated by this decrepit old man. With this sudden realization, Wesker now knew the source of his anxiety for all those years. Appearing to read Wesker's thoughts, Spencer laid out everything to him. The development of bioorganic weapons was only a means of achieving his true goal, the forced evolution of mankind via the viruses. It would be the end of the current form of humanity and the birth of a new superior human race. With this new race he would build his utopia, with himself as the god on earth. This is beginning to sound like Nazi Germany at the minute. In order to realise his dream, he required three things. 1. The progenitor virus. Without this key component, his dreams would be no more than abstract ideas. Once he discovered the progenitor virus, he had the foundation on which all his subscription plans would be built. 2. The Umbrella Corporation. The manufacture of bioweapons was the perfect method of conducting his research on the progenitor virus. All profits gained through Umbrella's research were secondary to his true goal. The third thing Spencer needed in his grand vision was Wesker himself. Spencer knew that was required for his utopia. He also knew he would need a new human race. But what would that new breed of humans be like? The progenitor virus would spur natural selection upon the population. That was the fundamental premise behind Spencer's plan. But if the breed of humans brought about by this new selection process were unwilling to share in his vision, then there would be unwarranted complications. This fourth stage of evolution would give the surviving humans increased strength and intelligence, but it would not affect a person's knowledge, logic, or general character. If any insolent or unsavory individuals survived to be a part of this new race, it would be a blight on Spencer's utopia. Spencer was not about to have his vision stained, so he enacted a plan to ensure that that would not happen. This plan was called the Wesker Plan, which was named after the chief researcher at the time. According to the plan, hundreds of children born of parents of superior intellect from all nationalities would be collected. If their knowledge, logic, and self-will could not be altered by the genetic manipulation, then Spencer himself would instill his values into these children by whatever means he deemed necessary. These children would all be given the surname Wesker, and after completion of their indoctrination manipulation, they were placed into select controlled environments in various locations around the world, ever under Umbrella's watchful eye. The children themselves were to be kept unaware that they were being monitored. With Umbrella's concealed aid, they all received the best education available in the fields they pursued. After a few years, one child showed particular promise was sent to Umbrella's training facility in Raccoon City. This child's name was Albert. Spencer was quite pleased by all of Albert's actions, but if the other Wesker children were like him, Spencer would have nothing but quality individuals for this new race of humanity. Spencer then enacted the second phase of his plan. All the Wesker children would be administered a experimental virus. The virus was administered to screen out the more gifted of the Wesker children. Some took the virus on the recommendation of a friend. Others were given the virus as a part of their medical treatment. Still other had it forcibly administered to them. Albert Wesker was no different. His partner, William Birkin, gave him the experimental virus, and he had administered it to himself. This screening process turned out to be a little too selective. Most of the Wesker children died, leaving only a few survivors. Albert Wesker was one of those survivors. He disappeared shortly after, and he disappeared. Spencer was unconcerned by this development. There was a fail-safe device attached to every Wesker Spencer's existence. This was the discomfort Wesker had felt throughout his life. All the Wesker children were programmed to seek Spencer out, which manifested itself as a growing anxiety within each of the subjects. Just as Spencer had predicted, Albert soon came after him, turned against their master, in other words. Unfortunately, Spencer had made one miscalculation. His fail-safe only worked for as long as it remained a mystery. As soon as the mystery was revealed, Wesker no longer needed to restrain himself. All that was impending Wesker was a feeble old man on death's doorstep. The right to be a god, that right is now mine. Wesker said that in Resident Evil 5. With those words, Wesker broke from the shackles that Spencer laid on him. It was the only random chance he bought his former subordinates, Chris Redfield and Jill Valentine, to Spencer's mansion at the exact time, but Wesker took it as a sign. The weak will always resist the will of the chosen. With renewed purpose, Wesker reflected on his own evolution and the evolution of the human race. After the incident at the Spencer estate, he went underground and used the news of his death to veil his activities. He had achieved his goal of obtaining the virus and capital he needed from his position at Umbrella. Next, he put all of his efforts into bringing his Ouroboros plan to fruition, and thereby setting himself up as a god over the next generation of humanity. That's basically how Resident Evil 5, it goes into Resident Evil 5 after that. The one where he kills Spencer was right before Jill and Chris discover his body, and like they have to fight off Wesker right there. So that was like a flashback scene that you play through, a DLC thing. Lost in Nightmares, I think it's called. But yeah, that's it. That is it for all of the Resident Evil files, including the library files, or Resident Evil 5 files. Yeah, like I said, if the survival unit information gets uploaded to the site, probably will. I will read it. They'll probably take, like, I don't know, about end of the year, something like that, because I don't know how long it takes for people to upload on this site. But yeah, that be it for now, most likely. I will be next week. I will be continuing library files, but guess what? It's going to be Silent Hill library files from the Silent Hill games. I found a website which most of them are on. I'll have to look for other files from games that's not on it. But that'll be a continuation into the new year, so it'll keep me going until Resident Evil 9 files come out, I suppose. But yeah, that'll be it for today's video. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.